Hello, church. I hope you've been enjoying these daily devotionals from the book of Psalms and they've been an encouragement to you this season. Today, we're going to look into Psalm 37. This psalm has about 40 verses, so please take some time to read this entire psalm whenever you get time today. One of the things that stood out to me while I was reading and meditating on this psalm is the theme which talks about the power of choice. The choice where we could trust God and live a life that pleases Him versus the choice where we could do whatever we want and live a life that's pleasing to us and our flesh. And I'm going to take some examples from this psalm which talks about what happens when we trust God, when we depend on Him and live a life that's pleasing to Him. In Psalm 37 from verse 23 to 26, it says, "The Lord shows us how we should live, and He is pleased when He sees people living that way. If they stumble, they will not fall, because the Lord reaches out to steady them." And David says in Psalm 25 and 26, I think he was old when he wrote this psalm, because it says, "I was young and now I am old, but I've never seen good people left with no one to help them. I have never seen their children begging for food. They are kind and generous, and their children are a blessing." It's such a great testimony to know that while David lived his life and he never saw someone who was good left with no one to help them, and he never saw their children begging for food. At the back of the choices that we make, we can see how it not just impacts us, but it impacts the generations to come after us. And when we live a life to please God, it's such a blessing to people around us. And one of the ways that we could please God is by obeying His commandments. And the second greatest commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. And this season, let's be extra cautious to love our neighbors more than like never before. Even if it's an old friend of yours, a relative of yours who you haven't kept in touch with, or anybody that God's putting in your heart, I would encourage you to tag them and just ask how they are doing, or even ask them how you could be praying for them this season, or even if you could go and reach out to them and make some food for them and encourage them this season. Because everybody needs hope and encouragement in this season. And God's using us, and one of the ways we could live such a pleasing life is by being the hands and feet of Jesus this season, where we could love people and we could also please God by the way we live. And it also says how in verse 39 and 40, "The Lord saves those who are good. When they have troubles, He is their strength. The Lord helps good people and rescues them. They depend on Him, so He rescues them from the wicked." I just want to encourage you and say that God is always there looking out for you. He sees you this season. He knows what you're going through. And like how we have Jesus, let's be the hands and feet of God to people around us. So ask God, who is that one person that I need to reach out to today, just to encourage or pray or give some food or do something out of the way which will bring a smile on their face. Thank you for joining us, church. Please tune in tomorrow for Psalm 38. Hope you have a good day.